What is quote mining, and is it legitimate? Hi, it's Calvin Smith here, and welcome to Creation Basics, where our goal is to make God's creation part of your everyday conversation. Now, today's question is, what is quote mining, and is it legitimate? Well, hey, did you know the Bible teaches atheism? That's right. Psalm 14:1 says there is no God. No, I'm serious. It's right there in the Bible. Look it up. Are you convinced? Probably not, because you know there's probably some context to that statement. And yes, the rest of the verse reads, "The fool says in his heart, there is no God." Now, you'd be upset if someone twisted the Bible like this, but sometimes, unfortunately, Christians have done the same type of thing. Consider this quote from a letter by Charles Darwin, for example. "The impossibility of conceiving that this grand and wondrous universe with our conscious selves arose through chance seems to me the chief argument for the existence of God." You see, some Christians have actually quoted this to show that Darwin believed it seemed impossible for chance to produce the universe. But as you likely guessed, given that Darwin is the father of modern evolution, the rest of the paragraph was left out, and the end of the sentence, which says, "But whether this is an argument of real value, I have never been able to decide." So Darwin doubted this argument for God's existence, not his own belief in evolution. Now, here at Answers in Genesis, we use quotes all of the time to bolster our arguments against evolution and in support of the historicity of the Bible. One of my favorites is from James Barr, the professor of the interpretation of the Holy Scriptures at Oxford University, where he said this, quote, "Probably, so far as I know, there is no professor of Hebrew or Old Testament at any world-class university," maybe a touch of intellectual snobbery there, perhaps, but anyway, "who does not believe that the writers of Genesis 1 to 11 intended to convey to their readers the ideas that creation took place in a series of 6 days, which were the same as the days of 24 hours we now experience. The figures contained in the Genesis genealogies provided by simple addition a chronology from the beginning of the world up to later stages in the biblical story. And Noah's flood was understood to be worldwide and extinguish all human and animal life except for those in the ark." Now, for us to use this quote is completely legitimate because Barr was actually what's known as a hostile witness. He wasn't even on our side, so to speak. Consistent with his neo-Orthodox views, he didn't actually believe Genesis was real history. But as a world-class expert, he understood what the Hebrew clearly taught. So we used it to show people that the Bible doesn't teach long ages or a local flood or evolutionary and any of these other goofy ideas some Christians have tried to add to the Bible. It was only the perceived need to harmonize with the alleged age of the earth that led people to think anything different than what Barr, an expert in Hebrew and not, in the tank for young earth creation, so to speak, said. It was nothing to do with the text itself. So this is exactly what happens in a good courtroom. You use expert testimony, sometimes hostile, sometimes neutral, and sometimes positive to your side to prove your case. But quote mining refers to the practice of quoting out of context. Quote mining means fudging facts or leaving out crucial details that misrepresent the meaning of the quote to make your own argument seem better. You see, quote mining is so common in our culture today that we kind of take it for granted. I mean, remember the last, advertisements for some Hollywood flick that included, just the words, "a thrill ride." And when you look up the actual review, it says, "not exactly a thrill ride." Fake news, so to speak. To put it bluntly, quote mining it's a version of lying. It occurs far too often in theology, in politics, or even, the debate about evolution. Sadly, misquoting evolutionary scientists often happens by Christian non-scientists, and it happens too often, so we need to be careful. If a quote seems too good to be true, investigate it. Don't post it on your social media. Misquoting Charles Darwin won't convince a skeptic, but it may damage your Christian witness. So, is quote mining legitimate? No. Evolution's shortcomings are crippling, and careful, accurate arguments will expose them, but we don't need to resort to cheap shots. Let's just follow Jesus and do unto others what you others to do unto you. Hey folks, Calvin here. If you've been watching this program for a while now, have been blessed by the content, understand the importance of biblical authority, and have the means, please consider giving a one-time gift or becoming one of our monthly supporters by clicking that link below. And even if you don't, keep watching. Our goal is to equip the average believer to be able to share the gospel more frequently and effectively by making God's creation part of your everyday conversation. Stay blessed.